Welcome to Stripes and Stories, a show about life as a prior tiger. I'm your host, Tina James. Today we'll be turning our attention to the classroom with Kristen Graves, the Director of Teaching and Learning.
I'm Kristen Graves, and you're listening to Teacher Talk, conversations that take us inside the thinking behind a teacher's most powerful moves. Today, we're chatting with Tracey Niblack, 7th grade geography teacher and last year's Teacher of the Year at Pryor Middle School.
Like, what brings you joy in the job? What do you love about it?
I love just, I've taught, I'm going to go back for a second. I've taught a couple different subjects. I've taught reading, I've taught math, I've taught social studies, the whole gamut of social studies. And it doesn't matter which one it is. I love seeing students when they figure it out or when they get excited about something. Like today we were working on absolute location, and one student who was just having the hardest time, we sat and worked together, and when he finally clicked and he's like, oh, I get it. So I'm going to come over here where it says north. And when he figured out how to do it, just that excitement where you could tell they felt empowered with the learning. They knew how to do something and it made them feel strong. And I love seeing that in kids. I also love, as a geography teacher specifically, I love, as we were saying earlier, I love the world. I love learning new cultures, new foods, new people, seeing new places, and being able to share that side with students and get them excited about other cultures, other places is just a great joy that I get to do that every day. That to me is amazing.
Is there something special about middle school students for you?
I have always said, I started out as a high school teacher. My best friend, Mrs. Hatfield Bandy at the high school, she always thinks I'm exceptionally weird because I want to teach middle school. But I love, for lack of a better, the squirreliness of them. They're still figuring themselves out. They still are figuring out who they want to be, what they enjoy in the world. And I love that stage. I liked high school, but they're starting to get more into the whole, this is who I am, this is what I want to do, and anything else isn't that cool anymore. Whereas at the middle school, you still have that where once they come in, and kids, I love it when kids tell me, oh, I used to hate geography, and now you just made it so much fun. It's so much fun to learn about it. And I think that's the great part about middle school kids, is they're still so much more open to new ideas and subjects that they haven't shut down on yet.
What do you think it does for a kid when they have a great experience at middle school?
I think you're going to, this was the one thing I just kept thinking about, is that I think it really does. My key idea for this age is to empower them, to make them feel like they can have some ownership of their learning, of their life, of whatever it is. So I think when they can walk away excited about something or learning something new or whatever it may be in the middle school, where they're still so open to those ideas, it really makes them feel like they have more ownership over themselves, over their lives, and what they can find enjoyment in. That they don't have to just fit in this little box that sometimes they feel like they have to be in because they're an athlete or because they're in band or because they can do lots of different things. And I love seeing that when kids are like, oh no, well, I really do. When I used to teach math, oh, you made math easy. I am good at math. Yeah, you can do it. And I love that stage with them. And that's one of the things that I think is important in my classroom. I want them to feel welcome in my room. Like whoever they are, whatever they're coming in as, I welcome that. I want them to feel like they're empowered in their learning. They have choice, because I think, again, when they feel empowered, they have that ownership and they can always take that with them. Nobody can take any of that away. And I think that's so important, especially at this middle school level where you're starting to get more of the peer pressure. You're starting to see more of the outside influence starting to impact them.
And choice has such an impact on empowerment, because
Yes.
How do they get good at making choices if they don't get to practice? So in your classroom, how do you give them choice?
So specifically, like I try to do a lot of projects. I think I could still improve on that, but I try to do a lot of project-based learning, and it's open to however they want to do it. And I just had the best experience. At the end of the last trimester, we were talking about the 5 of the major world religions. They had to pick 3. And really, I gave them I'm like, you guys need to pick how you want to present the information about these 3 religions. I don't care if you do an informative poster. I don't care if you want to write a short story about them. If you want to do a comic strip, like I gave them several choices of ideas, but I'm like, if you have another idea, just come talk to me. It's open because I can't think of everything that's out there. And I had several students, one in particular, she wanted to do a movie poster. And it blew me away how amazing it was, because she tied in all the information they had to know about each of these religions. And it was, I hung it up, and even other teachers were like, oh my gosh, that is phenomenal. I had another kid who chose to do a comic strip for each religion, where it talked about, comic strip probably isn't quite the right word, but that's what it looked like, these big comic strips where it was, the founder of each religion walking through the ideas and talking to people and trying to convert them. I just had so many different choices or different ideas that the kids brought in to show what they had learned. And I had another student who they just learned about word clouds in their English class. And he's like, can I do a word cloud for it? I'm like, if you can figure out how to tie in the main criteria, yeah, go for it. And so I had these beautiful, great word clouds of the different religions. And I was just like, that is amazing to me, the things they came up with. Mm. And I just think that really, like I said, when they came up with the idea and how to implement it, you could tell, one, there was more buy-in. They were excited to work on it. And it just showed the depth of their understanding was amazing, what came out of it.
To give choice, that means letting go of some control.
Yes. And that is difficult, especially, I've been teaching for, I don't even know, in the mid-20 number of years. And that didn't used to be what it was. It was, here's your assignment, even when I started teaching. And it took me a long time to get comfortable releasing control and seeing what that looked like. I've always kind of done projects, but they were always, this is what you're going to do. That's it. Everybody's doing the exact same thing. Part of what also helped me release control, and I share this with anybody who's asked me, rubrics are my best friend. Because I just am like, here's the basic knowledge you need to show me. And if you have a rubric, one, it lets the kids know exactly how are they going to grade this. So there's no surprise. And 2, makes my life easier because I can be like, do you have this or not? Do you have this knowledge or not? And those rubrics make, when teachers say, I don't want to do a project because how do you grade that? How do you go about it? Well, if you tell them ahead of time, this is how I'm going to grade you. They know, you know. And I was just telling one of my cohorts that I was like, holy cow, it doesn't take me that long to grade. Does it take me a long time to set up a rubric? Probably, but not as long as it would to sit and grade all those things without one. So I love rubrics.
That's awesome. Yeah. Well, and again, these projects get you the best of both worlds. Mm-hmm. Like they have this content knowledge, but having to create their own way of expressing it actually challenges them at a totally different level.
Yes.
Than simply just repeating the content.
Exactly. It's way better than just a multiple choice test. Look, I can find A and mark it.
What do you do to create that culture in your classroom?
I start every class, first of all, like we just switched trimesters. So we're going through that with some of my new kids. I start one by letting them know they're welcome, no matter who they are, no matter where they come from, whatever. They're welcome in my room, their ideas. And so part of it is, unfortunately, the downside of it is when students are making inappropriate comments or whatever, it's a quiet conversation in the hall. It's a pulling them aside and going, okay, we're not going to do that in here because everybody's welcome. That helps because when they see I actually mean what I say about that, it lets them feel more comfortable. Oh, she is going to help me. She is going to protect me. And then once we start talking and sharing ideas, I never tell kids, no, that's wrong. Oh, that's a horrible idea. It's always, oh, that's really interesting. Why don't you tell me more? Or if they're on the right track, well, that's really good. What does that apply to? Now, okay, let's go back to what our question asked one more time. See what it is we're trying to get to kind of give them that, hey, you had a good thought. That was a really good idea. Now let's try and weave our way back so we're back on topic, so we can get back to what is it we're trying to learn here.
A phrase you used a minute ago that stuck with me was, they see that I mean it. Like they're saying to students what we want them to experience in our classroom or what we want them to do, and there's showing that we mean it.
Yes.
So what are the things that you do that really show students you mean what you say about being creative and having choice and being welcome?
Anytime they have come up, I'm like, as long as they can explain to me like why it is they want to do that. They can't just be like, I'm going to draw a puppet, whatever. But if they come up and they're like, hey, I've got this idea. I truly, usually I'm like, oh my gosh, that's super cool. Okay, you're going to have to tell me more about it because I don't understand. Like the girl who wanted to do a movie poster. I can visualize a movie poster, but I'm like, okay, you're going to have to explain to me, how do you tie those three together? Are you making three separate posters? Are you doing one big, like, what is this? And even she was like, I'm going to go back and make a rough draft. I'm going to come up and show you what I'm talking about. Awesome. Show me that. And anything like that, even when we're working on smaller things that are only a day or two project, whatever, anytime they come up, they hear me having that conversation. So even if it wasn't that young lady, she obviously knew me, she trusted me, but the other students around could hear me going, oh my gosh, that's awesome. That's great. Or even when they just show me something they did in another class. Oh, that's really cool. Why don't you tell me about it? When did you do that? Okay, why did you think about that? I just ask them these questions all the time. Even kids who just doodle on their, not on their desk, but like doodle while they're taking notes or whatever. I will make sure, man, that's super creative. How did you come up with that idea for that? Would you draw me one? I want to hang it in my classroom. So I always have kids who are the artistically ones who are like, Mrs. Niblack, I drew this for you. And if I don't hang it up right away, they are like, where's my picture? And I'm like, I'm laminating it. I'm going to laminate it so it doesn't get torn up. I always tell my students, I do every stitch of work they do every single trimester. Because I'm like, one, it helps me remember what the pitfalls are for you. Where are you going to struggle? And two, you need to see that I've done the work too. I'm willing to do that. I don't rely on a textbook. I don't rely on something offline. And I'll put my examples up, even if it's a movie poster. Well, I haven't done a movie poster, but if it's a poster or whatever, I hang those up for the kids and go, this is my example. So this is what an A looks like. And then I usually hang on to a student's. This is a student's A. See, the effort is similar. And they kind of can start to see that what it is that I do and that I'm willing to do the same thing they do.
What I hear you saying too is every interaction with students, whether it's the student you're interacting with immediately or the ones around that are watching or hearing that interaction, is an opportunity for you.
Most definitely. Because, I mean, it's the same thing we tell kids. It's not just when people are watching you, when you know they're watching you. So the kid I'm interacting with, it's even when you think they're not watching, even when it's who you are all the time. So I want them to see that what I'm asking of them is no different than what I'm asking of myself.
Thinking about where you are now as a teacher, if you could go back in time and give advice to your first year teacher self, what would it be?
Relax. You don't have the answers to everything. And again, because it was so long ago, that was the era of the teacher is the answer. And I really honestly do probably at least a couple times a month think back to things I did as a first or second year teacher. And I go, oh, what were you thinking? But it's a growth process. And it really just be more comfortable in your skin. Trust yourself and relax. Because I know we all get caught up in our content. And that is important. But to me, it's more important, especially at middle school level, to make the kids feel loved and welcome. I mean, I've said that for many years now, probably not when I first started teaching, but for many years now where I'm like, if they don't feel welcome in your room, they're not learning from you anyway. And I just think that's probably one of the most important things you can do for them.